Man, finally got my main man on the couch, man. Tough Juice,
You know what it is.
Racine, UCONN, with his heat, man. My man, CB, Caron Butler, man.
Appreciate you
Butler,
having me.
man. I really, really, really appreciate you, man. Jumping off the G5, man, and coming on the hood, man, and sit on the couch, man.
100%.
How you been doing, man?
I'm good, man. Just enjoying the off season, chilling with my family. That's like the most important thing for me, like in the off season, like getting some business shit done, but obviously just spending that QT time with the family.
And every time I see you, man, family. You like the mob, man. I mean, it's family, man. You know what I'm saying?
Always.
Family, then it's business, right?
100%.
Yeah, man. For those who don't know about Racine, man, I know. Give us a little bit about coming up in Racine.
Man, it's pretty much just like every other community, or when you talk about neighborhood, or that have ghettos, that have, black and brown population is not the majority. When you talk about the general population of our county, Racine County, it's about 100,000 people, 35,000 minorities, and you know what comes with that space in the neighborhoods is, the drug sales, the prostitution, the gang banging, you name it, you see it. And like I was exposed to all of that as a teenager at an early age, especially, my uncles being in the game, my uncle, Daddy Rich, he was heavy in the streets, super siege indictments, all that shit. So I saw that up close and personal.
How was you when you witnessed all this type of stuff? How was you?
Probably about 5 to 7 years old.
And so, in your household, you have a dad in the house, or was it your mom?
No pops. This is my mom's. My
No
mom's
pop.
and grandmother.
So you typical. Your mother, grandmother that was the backbone.
100%. The
backbone.
matriarchs and patriarchs of the family. My mom and grandmother.
Right. Yeah. And you say 100,000, 35% of that 100,000 was African Americans.
Yeah.
What's the name? So coming up, so what hit you first, the streets or basketball?
I think my like curiosity of basketball, like I was always curious about the game because my uncle played it at a high level, but I didn't love basketball. Like I love what came with the streets. Like my uncle Daddy Rich, he coming through with Cadillac with Bogues and 100 spokes, and he pulling out the phones. He got the leather Raider suits. He got the weapons on, big chains, everything. Like, so I'm just like, I want to be him. Like, I see this basketball shit, but he looking more fly than the dudes that's hooping. Like, I don't think they getting paid like this. So that's what I wanted to be like, and that's what I try to imitate and emulate during my years of growing up.
Oh, okay. And Daddy Richard, we know he retired, been retired. Even when I seen him years ago, he was smooth. You could tell he had that money at one time, though. But it's just the demeanor, right? But back then, what was his choice of drug that he was hustling back then,
Yeah, so they was doing, they were selling cocaine. But then, it went from powder to, obviously crack, because it was just like in the late 80s, early 90s, the game just kind of switched up a little bit. Everybody's doing the free base and everything. But I used to see like the garbage bags of money and shit like that, and I was just like, damn, I want to be him.
Do you remember any stories as a young boy that he might have talked to you about, like telling you about not getting in the streets, or if you get in the streets, what to do? Any stories that Daddy Rich gave you?
You know what? He used to always keep me on game, but he used to always keep me away from like everything. Like I saw it because I wasn't naive, and he didn't want to make me be naive to the realities of where the money came from, how he was hustling, who he was hanging around with. But it was this one time where he was just talking to me about, they was out in Park Vista and drug raid happened and all these, cats went to jail, everybody telling on everybody. And that's when I first got introduced to just like, if you find a friend faithful and true, fuck him before he fuck you. That was just like
hold on, say it again. This is changing jewels now. Get that joint one more time. Repeat that joint.
Yeah, if you find a friend faithful and true, fuck him before he fuck you.
Damn.
And he said they learned that in the streets because it was just like what they experienced in the game. You know, everybody that got caught in the raid, everybody was pointing fingers, pointing thumbs, giving audio sessions before samples was even being used. You know what I'm saying? Like just giving everything. And I was just like, damn, like that stuck with me. I didn't understand it back then, but now like when I got older, it struck a nerve.
Right. Damn. That was deep. That was deep right there, man. What about the gang culture? Was there any gang culture up there in Racine? Did it hit you?
Yeah, the GDs, Vice Lords, I mean, Latin Kings, you know, Bloods, Crips, Four Corner Hustlers, Travelers. We had all that. My Uncle Richard was a BD at the time. You know, he ran with the Stones and stuff like that. But yeah, we had a lot of shit out there, man.
Damn. So the GDs noticed. So it wasn't just attached to Chicago. It was all Midwest.
No, it migrated right on down. You know, Chicago, Milwaukee, Waukegan, Kenosha, like everything all there in between. Like I think with WIC, welfare, everything like that, people was double dipping on the government funds and stuff. So you can get a check in Illinois, you get a check in Wisconsin.
Right.
They start playing that game, and then folks start staying in Wisconsin because it was a little more safer. You know, it wasn't up to speed like Chicago was. So he was able to navigate, move around a little bit differently in the neighborhoods. And I just think that we saw like a overflow of just traffic of, GDs and Vice Lords and Four Corner Hustlers and Travelers coming from the city down to Racine.
Yeah. Speaking of welfare back then, man, changing gears for a second. Man, was y'all had that government cheese we had down here, man? That government cheese, that block joint. you chasing cheese better than that yet, man? I don't know where they got that plug from right there, man.
Hey, man, I'm still salty to this day. In the Racine Journal-Times, they got this visual of my grandmother sitting in line getting a big-ass block of free cheese. And it's her, like, right there in front of everything, front and center. And that was just some, like, embarrassing shit for a long time because everybody know Big Mama, everybody know Grandma Butler. And folks used to be like, man, is your grandma getting the free cheese at the thing? Like, they brought that shit to the school. I'm like, man, that ain't my grandma, man. That shit in black and white. They don't even look right. But for years, like, that haunted me. Having my grandma up there getting cheese. All them niggas money, they was getting free cheese too, man. Shit.
Right, yeah. But I tell you what, she was smart. Cause they used to make us go back and double line. Everybody go get in the line and get some of that joint right there. Hell yeah, man. So when was the first time that you got introduced to the drug gang? I know you touched the drugs at one time. And how old was you and what happened?
Man, I have to say the first time I ever got introduced to the game or had a sale or anything, probably about 10, 11. One of my uncle homies, they had like finished bagging up some work, doing their thing, and they had like a whole bunch of this like crumbs left over, like a whole bunch of shake. And dude just like gave me all the shake, and I bagged it up. It was easily over probably a half, something like that. And I just went out, hit the block with the shake. I was giving out like 50-cent bags for $50 bags for a dime. I just wanted to bust a sale. I just wanted that rush and that feeling, knowing that I was doing some shit I wasn't supposed to be doing, but just hustling. And I believe I came back. I made probably like $450, $500, just off shake, underselling but selling.
Right.
And
first time you had $500 of your own in one time?
Of my own. Yeah, because I did like a paper route for years. I worked for the Journal-Times, and my mom went to the OIC and, got me a worker's permit at a young age. So I already was running the paper routes every morning, but it switched up, from paperboy to the real paperboy. Right. So it was like I was really.
Damn, that's a title. From paperboy to the real paperboy.
That's what it was.
It ended up happening.
Yeah, that's what it ended up happening, where I was actually out there where the papers was getting dropped off on our porch at 3:15, 3:30 in the morning, and I was already I had a head start on everybody. And I was down at the 18th Street Park. I was coming through. My mom didn't question because I was doing my routes, and I got a whole load off. By the end of before school started.
And I know I was doing a little bit of reading. how my man Biggie Small say he sold more power than Johnson and Johnson. They say Johnson and Johnson in your community or in your
Yeah.
city. There's a story I heard now that you ran into the fence of Johnson and Johnson, man.
I did.
What happened, man? What happened that day, man?
Man, you know, we was in the car, just copped this car, and it's a Buick Sabre, is clean. You know, we didn't have no sounds, got the boom box, speaker in the back.
Right.
Young fellas, you know, pushing. I was probably like 11 or 12 years old.
Right.
And, you know, hit the gas a little bit too hard. That thing, like, swung. It did like a U. Hit the curb, went up, went through the brick wall. And everybody took off, scattered, ran. There's 4 of us in the car. And I got about halfway up the block, and I forgot that I left my mom's Isley Brothers tape or something in the car. So I circled back. Police covered everything. I still had to get the tape. Grabbed it out the back, took back off up the street. They chased us, never caught us. Then they had us on Crime Stoppers and all that shit.
Damn.
Yeah, $10,000 reward for you know, whoever broke through the gate at the
right.
SC Johnson's.
Right. And the Isley brother tape, it was important to you because she would have beat you, didn't have it, or
Yeah,
what
man.
was the reason you had to go
The
back to that
stitching cord
joint,
action was still popping still, man. I had to bring her back her tape, man, because one, she didn't think I had money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, at the time. So I played, you know, dumb like a fox, man.
Right.
Like, so I was always like acting slower than what I was. I never ever gave her any signs that I had any type of money.
Right. Yeah. You was smooth with it back then too, huh? What's his name? So when you end up hustling, I know I heard a joint when they ran up in the house or something you was in or something, or I don't know if it was a crack house. I know you had a personal joint later on down the line, but when they came and got you and locked you up, man, and they put the cuffs on you, because I always wonder, because I know when I got locked up, so much stuff go through your brain when you actually looking at them cuffs on your wrist, right? So when you had them cuffs on you from being locked up, what was the first thing going through your brain?
Yeah, I was just like, damn, this because the crazy part about it is that when I got caught this time, I wasn't doing nothing. Like I went straight square. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't doing anything. So that's why I was like, damn, like this must be the get back for everything else, because now I ain't switched lanes, I ain't crossed paths. And that was the first thing going through my head was like, why this shit didn't happen then? Like I was just thinking like that. And man, I had like a divine intervention, like a moment where I saw the ATF officer pull his mask back or take off his ski mask, and it was a familiar face. I didn't know him, but it was just a face I'd seen before. Maybe he was informant or something that I probably served to or had some interaction with. But he had told them to uncuff me. And that shit just don't happen. And they found the 1.5 ounces in the garage, not on the premises of the house, but on the premises of the property. So everybody had access to the garage. The garage was open, shut, anybody can go in and out. And they saw a lot of traffic going in and out of there. That's the only reason why I was in charge. But that officer, Sergeant Rick Geller, he was like, let him go. They're like, you sure? He was like, got a call from, you know, my upper up. He said, it's my call to make, let him go. Because I didn't get the work from him this morning. It was a drug sale that happened out of this house today, and it didn't happen with him. I know that for 100%. But what he did tell me is that if anything was to happen, in any future, near future, farther future, that I would be charged with the 1.5 ounces
plus
of narcotics, plus whatever else it was. So they had that hanging over my head, and that's when I pivoted and got out the state.
But you knew that moment right there, you wasn't getting your hands dirty no more. Anyway.
Never again. But I was done. I was already done.
You was done at that moment. It was just a bad time, and they running in the zone right there. Damn.
But that happens all the time, though. Like when you think about the streets, like
all the time.
So many times, like when you done so much shit in the past, and then all of a sudden you trying to pivot in the game, like, no, you can't pivot because remember this, like you still got an invoice on this shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's one of those things. But I was fortunate that Rick Geller showed me favor in that moment. And I've never seen anything like that. And for a long time, I'm gonna go a little further. Like for a long time, it was still getting questioned because it was like, all right, we see in the paper the work got found like ounce and a half seized in a drug
Who
raid.
charged those?
So what? Like why he out here? So for a while, people was thinking like maybe he said something. Maybe he like working for them people or something like for a long time. And then the truth actually came out like where, I was speaking publicly and I finally became a success story where I went to the league and stuff and I told the story. People were like, oh shit, like that really happened. Like, yeah.
Right.
Like I was just shocked as you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like if I'm shocked,
right.
I understand how y'all feel in the streets.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, the officer was a white officer too, right?
Yeah, white officer.
Man, what's his name? We got to shout him out again. What's his name?
Sergeant Rick Geller.
So yeah. Shout out to Sarge, man. Because the police, in 2022, they got a hell of a bad rep. And this was all the way back in what year was this?
That was in 2016.
2016, yeah. So yeah, I gotta take my hat off to him, man, because a lot of times and he probably seen something in you outside you not so much traffic going. He all probably seen something in you too, though. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause a lot of times people see these young guys out here making these mistakes, and they still send them up that road, man, for the rest of their life, man.
Facts.
So Saul definitely need to have a shout out to him, man. So AAU. So did that make you focus more on basketball after that moment right there?
Yeah, you know what? I was like I said, I was already locked in from a basketball standpoint, but what it told me is that it's ceilings in where I'm at. Like it's some ceilings and some barriers that no matter what or how far I go, that's just what it's gonna be. So I have to get the fuck out of here. Like I have to leave Racine in order to like spread my wings and get some unlimited opportunities where I can get exposed to, because I've seen this story before. I've seen my reality before. Might be a football player, might have been another basketball player, might have been my uncle who got his career shortened a little bit too early because of run-ins with the law that could have been prevented. So I was like, you know what, I got to find a way to get the hell out of here. So I used the AAU pipeline to just get interest, get resources. I had a Muslim brother by the name of Jamil Aguari that was just like really tapping into like finding a location and a platform for me where I can just get the hell out the state.
That was good. That's a good brother right there, man. I know when DC Assault was here at the time, they was the hottest AAU program in the area. And man, they was like, man, that's a dude from Wisconsin, man. Caron Butler, man. This nigga here, he was and then he ended up going to school with DJ.
Yep, DeMar Johnson.
Right, and then I started following you more at that point. But they say, man, you was on that circuit, like a madman. For now, I see where that energy came from, because you was like, I got shit. I'm on a mission.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I think too, because a lot of them dudes was playing basketball because they were just enjoying the shit, having fun. But like, my urgency was different. My disposition was different. Like every trip was a business trip.
Right.
I already had a child at the age of 14. I had to be a provider for my kid. Like I was thinking like that because I grew up without a father. So like that responsibility is my responsibility. And like I said, my disposition was just different. I was just like, you know what? These dudes out here playing. You got John Thompson in the crowd. You got Coach K over here. You got George Raveling here. You got Phil Knight coming in here into these gyms watching these dudes, and they don't see the big picture. I'm like, there's a lot of money in here. Like I have to put on.
And you say you had you had your first kid at 14?
Yeah, I had my daughter at 14.
Man, so what was that like mentally, man? I know that it gave you the drive to go hard on the basketball court, but what do you tell somebody 14 right now that's having the baby, some of the things they might can lean on for strength, man?
Man, I think this get mentors and surround yourself by, good fathers, and people always say, well, if I can't get a good mentor, like the shit is almost like ABC. It's like filling the voids that you wish you had, you know what I'm saying, when you was growing up. Be what you wish you had when you was growing up. And I think that's important because, a lot of times I didn't have mentors until I got, later in my teenage years, somebody to talk to about real shit, things that I was feeling, things that I was actually going through, and that can give me like solutions to the problems, not just make the problem a bigger problem type shit. And, I was very fortunate just to, finally run into some great mentors. But like I said, a lot of this shit was just trial and error. But I just knew that I didn't want to disappoint her like I disappointed my mother and my grandmother when I went down that path and went to corrections.
When your uncle Carlos, right?
Yep.
When he was going through, did you see the pain with your grandmother? Did you see what she kind of went through that was kind of some of your energy too, to not duplicate that?
Hell yeah. And because I wanted to be just like my uncle. So when he went to prison, and I'll never forget, he had a baby at a young age too, and one of the first things he said is, I got a child, and hope that the judge or the court system would show mercy, to him. And I feel like, in our culture for a long time, it's been like the most worst thing you can do is get in front of somebody that don't look like you and tell them your story or your reality and ask for, some type of forgiveness and hope that they swing the gavel some in another direction. And when I looked at him and he told his truth and he told his reality, and everybody in our family in the courtroom crying, and at the end of the day, they was like, yeah, I get it, but take this 10.
Yeah.
You know,
on with you right there.
For a mistake. And I seen somebody, and it was a situation where a teenager, it happened 2 weeks prior to my uncle getting sentenced. It was a teenager went through a stop sign, white kid, killed somebody, saw him in court. It was for it was American history study. They still do it in Racine Unified right now, where they let you go sit in the courtroom. But his case is always used as an example. But I was living in it in that moment. It happened 2 weeks before my uncle. They ended up letting him go with a whole bunch of probation. Killed somebody. Took somebody's life because he missed the stop sign. And if I'm not mistaken, he was under the influence. So that's a double, check mark. But he had the right complexion. And then I look at my uncle's situation and what he went through. I was just like, this shit is crazy. You know what I mean? So, like, that always stuck with me. Still stick with me to this day. And, like, it scarred the whole family when that situation happened to him. So I just always, like, move with a different type of disposition, just, like, urgency in life after that happened.
Right. So, where did you get the name Tough Juice from? Where'd that come from?
Eddie Jordan.
Eddie George?
Eddie Jordan. He gave me that name.
Dang, so you got that as a pro?
Yeah, got it as a pro.
Oh, all this long, I thought you grew up with the Tough Juice.
Paperboy.
Oh, yeah? Oh, Paperboy was the name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You got to make that book out there, Paperboy, man. It was the second book, man. I like that, man. The real Paperboys do the Paperboys, right?
Facts.
God, so, when you came up, man, in Racine, was there anybody who Caron feared? When I say feared, I don't mean like they going to check your pockets, but like when you see this person, you got to build your toes, whether it was basketball, slap boxing. Anybody you had like that in that community? You
know what? It was a brother by the name of Andre McKinstry that I think everybody had like a. He made you a little uncomfortable when he was around. Like,
everybody got one of them in the neighborhood.
Yeah, he was a big a big homie, but at the same time, like, he can make you uncomfortable or he can make you feel real comfortable. Like, he had that type of influence. And I think I was 10 years old, 11 years old, he was murdered in this bar. And a couple of my family members and people who I know that was in there, where he was pat down, dude took the gun from him, from what I hear, and shot him dead right there. And, I think that was the beginning of just a lot of turmoil in our city. I think because that was the first time that we had like a violent murder to that extreme that happened from someone that wasn't homegrown. Like, the person that ended up killing him or accused of murdering him was from Chicago. So, you got somebody from Racine, Wisconsin, somebody from Chicago did the demonstration, and then all of a sudden it was just like, damn, like,
you don't mess with them, they don't mess with us.
Yeah, it was just different. Right. And from that moment right there on, I think our community was different because dudes said, oh, damn, if they can do that to him, like, everybody just start carrying different, everybody started moving different. It was on site. Like, if some shit took place, it wasn't too much talking no more. It was just like they pulling them out.
Town got more aggressive to the 10 powers over one incident.
Yeah.
Man, that's strong. What's his name? So you end up going to prep school with DJ DeMar Johnson. I think he's like the top player, high school player in the country at the time. If I'm not mistaken. Both of y'all on the same court. Give me some memories of how them games look like, man. What was y'all averaging, you guys, both of you guys?
Man, DJ was close to 30. I was like 20, 25 to 27 a night. Yeah, we was the first time I met DJ, I arrived in Maine after I flew from Milwaukee to Chicago, Chicago to Boston, Boston to Portland, Portland to Bangor.
Hey.
That was back in the day where you just globe trot to get $300 ticket or whatever, you fly all over the place. So I got to Maine. It was about 10:30 at night. Max Good, coach, helped me. I got like 5 bags. Back then too, you could bring as many luggage you want. They didn't do all that.
Right.
So I get to prep school. He wake everybody up in the dorm. Everybody, let's go to the gym. Let's play pickup. I need to see what this look like.
Right.
So,
Off the break, right off the plane.
Right off. So it's like 11 at night, something crazy. DJ, me, Damon Brown, Avery Queen, all these dudes. I'm like, damn, they looking at me like, is this dude legit?
Right.
So the first time I get the ball, somebody threw it to me. I got busy in the post, boom, slapped the glass. Wow, that was like the thing. Like, let cats know I was there.
Right.
You know, and they're like, oh shit, okay. They heard of me, but they was like, yeah, he official.
Right.
And then DJ, he come down, bunk, like hit him with the pat, deep 3, bam. So I'm like, oh shit, okay, he the other dude in here, okay. I heard about him. All right, he official. Right. They're like, yeah, he going pro out from this motherfucker. Like, he going straight to the league. Right. So I kind of got the lay of the land that night where it was like me, DJ, Avery Queen, little guard out of Cali that was nice, went to University of Michigan. And then Jaron Brown went to Pittsburgh. He's a 2 guard. He was nice. He ended up being my roommate. But I got the lay of the land that night. But our first exhibition game, got to tell you this story. DJ got the ball, and this was before like taking it through the legs doing the East Bay Funk was a thing.
Right.
He just like went the length of the court so easy. Dude like right on his back, took it through the legs, banged it. And everybody just like, did he just do that shit? Right. And I'm talking about this is when ESPN Outside the Lines doing a big story on MCI. They got the dude Shaft and all these folks coming in and off the campus. And DJ just like making the game look effortless. Like he was special. He was before his time, man. Like non-positionless, like he can just do everything.
Yeah, he was a freak. He was a freak right there. Freak of nature, man. Why UCONN? All the colleges of the country was on your line. Why did you pick UCONN?
But it's interesting because I feel like if you can be bought, you can be sold, and like
you dropping a lot of jewels on here. That's my job. You taking my job.
Oh man,
you dropping a lot of jewels on here, man. A lot of jewels, man. God damn, you can be bought, you can be sold.
Yeah, my OG told me that, man. You be bought, you be sold. Daddy Rich. He said, man, you be bought, you be sold, and everybody that came. Like, no disrespect to none of the colleges, but everybody that was coming to the home visits was coming with a price. They was coming, like, not seeing me as a person, but just seeing my talent and just like, yo, give you $50,000, come here. Like, it was just like a ticket on you. But Jim Calhoun came with a whole different approach. And when he sat down with my grandmother, he sat down with my mother, he was like, he's going to be a better human being, going to be a better person. Like, he's going to be a pro. Because this is what I'm going to do for him. And he's going to be, you know, this on the court, but even better off the court because these are some of the values I'm going to instill in him, you know. And he's going to be a lifer, which means that once you go to UConn, like, it's bleed blue forever. Like, we family. And all that shit that he sat down at that kitchen table and said, like, he meant, and it came to light. You know what I mean? And when he left, my grandma was like, and my mother, like, your ass, you going with him.
You going right there, right?
Like, I don't know what you think you going or what, but you going with him.
Right.
I like, cool, that's cool.
Yeah, he's a hell of a salesman, and he stood on everything he said.
Stood on everything. He stood on business.
Right, yeah. One of my childhood best friend named Howard Tinker, I seen Calhoun, he older than you. Tinker will be like 53 now, about to be 54. Calhoun came in our neighbor, Langston Terrace, recruit him. I seen him walking our community. He was at Northeastern. Matter of fact, that was his last year before he left Northeastern, man. And He talked highly about the stuff he said too, right? Because I was just like, man, Northeastern, they don't even be on TV. You know what I'm saying? What I'm thinking right back then, right? But he was just like saying Calhoun had a hell of a spiel that his mother bought into too, right? He actually with the Northeastern falling behind him. So I heard that story about him that he had he is what he said he was. Who was Calhoun? Who did he look at for his rival in the Big East?
I would say 100% Syracuse.
Syracuse.
Boeheim.
Boeheim.
Yeah.
So when you was at UConn, who was the man in Syracuse at that time?
Preston Shumpert.
Preston Shumpert.
Yeah.
Okay. Melo came after you.
Yeah, he came right 03, 02, 03.
You went in the lead. You went in the draft.
I was gone.
You was in the draft this year. Okay. And so who was your rival? You did Syracuse too?
Yeah, but they had Troy Bell, they had Troy Murphy, he was at Notre Dame, Brandon Knight, he was at Pittsburgh. Yeah, the Big East was still the Big East, and like Wesley Wilson, Kevin Braswell, dudes like Eric Barkley.
Norris in Miami then? No, so Norris came a little after you, I think, too.
Rice, Darius Rice was there.
Okay.
Yeah, he was cold. He was out there getting 30, 40s, all that.
Your game was very disrespectful, man. You was just aggressive, banging that joint, man. You know what I'm saying?
Had to.
and they kept on saying he was locked up. Cause I'm looking at this jail nigga. He out here, man, he rough with these dudes, right? You had this aggressive ass game, man.
That's how you had to come out.
God damn. So you in that draft, you get drafted by the Miami Heat, right? You go down that joint, you got D Wade. Odom was already there, or he came on the trade. Was he already there?
He came afterwards.
D Wade, man, when you got in the practice with him, did you know? Was it obvious then that we was gonna see the D Wade that we see now, that the legacy level? Was it that obvious, or it wasn't there yet?
You know, I played against D Wade in the AAU for years, Illinois Warriors, and he always was like a special player. Like they always had a mob over there, but. You know, D Wade didn't show the flashes that, like, we seen or known for him to be the Hall of Famer and one of the top 3 two guards ever. Until, in my eyes, when they put him in the pick and roll, they put him on ball as the point two, and just put him in pick and rolls like in the slots or at the top, and that's when he became Flash. He was splitting the double teams, he was tacking the bigs, he was just like unguardable in a pick and roll situation. That was Stan Van Gundy just saying, you know what, like let me see what this look like. You know, with D Wade handling the ball coming at cats, because before, like he was becoming a prototype of offense. Like he was playing him like Eddie Jones, and Eddie Jones is our super vet. And you had me, him, Rasul Butler, Lamar Odom. Lamar Odom was versatile, 4'5", so we go small or big with him. But D Wade was coming off pick and rolls or like stagger screens, the Iverson cuts. But that wasn't like his strength. His strength was having the ball and just like being Basquiat. Just let him create, see what the shit looked like. And that's what he just always got to the paint. He was more athletic. He had the advantage where he was going downhill. He could finish over bigs. He was a good free throw shooter. The game just opened up and changed.
You can hear your coach shit, boy. You call the sets out,
back
doors. You can hear your coach shit. You hear Coach Jordan, man. And then you at the Heat, you with Miami, you with my man Pat Riley, he the GM at the time, right?
Yeah.
I'm a crazy Lakers fan back when he was coaching the Magic, right? Showtime, bad boy, right? And Pat Riley, man, real strategic. They talk about Phil Jackson with a lot of philosophy, but I like to think that he had a lot of mind games philosophy. He played too. He actually had made a statement that's my favorite statement to the day. He said, adversity introduces a man to himself. I heard him say that the first time, right? What is it like working for him and playing for him? And you got any Pat Riley stories?
Yeah, I think the creed of the culture, it exists because the Godfather is Pat Riley.
That's his name, the Godfather.
He's the Godfather. You can't tell the story of basketball without mentioning him. And he's had his impact on the game in a variety of ways. When you talk about coaching, you went back to Showtime, him as a player, him with the Knicks. Obviously him coming out of the upstairs seat, coming back down to lead that team to a championship when Shaq was part of the equation, and then going back upstairs and then acquiring somebody like LeBron James, who was the best player in the world at the time, and getting him to coexist with 2 other stars and putting Coach Eric Spoelstra in a position to take that baton and just like run with it. I think he's done so much. And when you talk about the best winning cultures in sports history, like what's created, whenever you talk about the Miami Heat, you'd be like, them motherfuckers win culture. Like they got a certain style, a certain disposition about them. That's Pat Riley. Like he started that foundation back in what, the early 80s, the late 80s, when that organization, the expansion team was created.
Early 90s.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden now it's still being talked about. So like when you talk about visionaries, and it's like Hove went in there and, you know, he did the Black Album, or he did, you know, some of his, the Blueprint, any of his classics, like damn, like he talked about some shit like we wasn't even on yet, but he had a vision where he was just like giving us free game. And like Jules, what you giving on the show. Same thing with Riley. Like he had a vision all the way back then. This is how I want to play defense. This is non-negotiable. Offensively, this is how we're going to play. We're going to be unselfish. We can incorporate superstars, or we'll never have to really rebuild. We just reload. So like he created a system with the organization like that, where it's like one of the winningest franchise in basketball history over the last 10 years. So what he saw with that vision is just like, it's crazy. And I get to be around that every day, him and Eric Spoelstra. I get to pick their brain about like sets and, you know, how you prepare schemes and practice and all. Like, I'm just like, I got a cheat sheet, low key.
Yeah, that's good, man. And I'm giving Irk its props, man. Top 15 coaches, man. You was there to witness that. I know that was a special for him, because I don't care what you do in life. People say what they want. People want their recognition, man. Want to be recognized for their greatness, especially you put that work in like that. So shout out to Irk for that, man. Coach Irk. Let me ask. Then you go to L.A. You in the city, all the lights at, man. Everything, man. You got that mama out there, man. First time you seen Coach, what's the first words he said to you, if you can remember?
Be ready to black out.
Ready to black out.
Yeah, and that's equivalent of working out. The day we had got traded there, they had a press conference for me, Brian Grant, Lamar Odom. And then also Kobe with Mr. Kupchak, because he was signing a deal for like 135 million. And they had the contract there. He signed it right there. We saw it. And then they also introduced us to the city of Los Angeles. And, you know, after he signed the deal, everybody, we taking pictures, everybody enjoying everything. He said, "Hey, we ready to fucking black out tomorrow." I was like, "What the fuck? Like, what the fuck that mean? Like, what is a blackout?" He like 7 o'clock. Like here, we working out. I'm like, "All right, I'll be here." Cool. And I pulled up. He was already there. We started off, 100 shots, mid-range stuff, like 5 spots, 20 makes. Then we went back a little faster, game speed. Then we stretched it out a little farther, 25 feet, working on our pivot work. Then we started doing stuff off the move, started doing stuff off the dribble. Then we started playing against double teams. Then we started going full court. We went one-on-one, shot free throws. It was just like a continuous thing. And then we shut it down after like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Then he was like, "See you back here at 5.
The same day?
Yeah, like see you back at 5. I was like, "Tomorrow a.m.? Nah, 5. Like tonight, see you at 5. Blackout again." Like, oh shit, okay. I said, all right, this motherfucker different.
This motherfucker crazy.
I said, he different.
God damn, that's crazy. Because I remember, I know the first story you told me about Kobe. I tell everybody, it's kind of out now that he was catching them helicopters back and forth to practice.
Yeah.
Beating the L.A. traffic.
Fact.
2 times a day.
Yeah.
And I think you told me one time you come in there, was it you? I think you said early in the morning, you come into practice, he leaving already soaking wet.
Already got his work in. Already enlifted, got his shots in. Blackberries was still popular then, so he was on his Blackberry. Like, we doing walkthroughs. He telling us all their plays. So Rudy T walking through like offensive sets, everything. And he's like, all right, this guy gonna come up, whoever we playing. He's like, he's gonna come up. This how they're gonna guard me. They're gonna blitz me first 2 possessions just to see like if they can rattle me. Like, all right, then they're gonna play a drop coverage. Or they're gonna show in the pick and roll. So he dissected the whole game. Like, all right, so you got to be ready to hit this shot early, just to get them. Like, now they're gonna soften up on me because you made that shot. Like, he just broke the game down in sequences, where I was just like, damn, he's so like. He's sharp with it.
Right.
I was just like, damn, I learned so much, like, in that time, like, from a basketball standpoint, like, watching film with him on flights, everything. Like, it was just deep.
Kobe it was obvious that he had the will to win and to be the baddest dude probably in his brain to walk the face of earth. Man, was it ever any inside conversation stuff where he just told you, man, Michael Jordan can't fuck with me, man? Did he ever?
No,
He always paid it.
He always told me that he was 1A. He felt like he was 1A.
He felt like he was 1A.
And Jordan's 1B.
And Jordan was 1B. And he was dead serious with that.
100%.
Damn.
He was like, I'm the like when you talk about like certain players, he be like, oh, you take a lot of shots. But you take a lot of shots. He be like, but no one's more skilled than me.
Yeah, he'll come back and say
like
that.
He'll be like, he's not skilled. He can't shoot his left. He can't shoot it. Like, he'll just break it, and you be like, damn, he actually got a point. Like, as crazy as it sound, all his shit was valid. Like, what he was saying. Like, dude's a Hall of Famer in both numbers. Like, he didn't do the run around, jump around shit. Like, he stayed committed to an organization, and he ran it off. You know, he got 5 of them things, man. So, and I keep telling folks the shit that happened in Denver, you know, like, I don't even want to give it, you know, no legs, anything, but the shit that happened in Denver, what he was accused of, like, just imagine, like, when people always talk about him and other stars or superstars, these MVPs and all that shit, I'd be like, you know how many MVPs, like, Kobe would have ran off if that didn't happen?
They give him that black eye.
They gave him a black eye, and for a minute, like, you got to think about the sponsors, like, removed themselves from him for, you know, a stretch, like a 3-4 year stretch. And this brother was so cold, like, and so different. He made everybody come back. Like, this because he was that gifted. Like, damn, you cannot deny, like, the greatness of what we witnessing. Like, we done with him. Damn, we can't be done with
left
him.
came back.
Everybody. And it paid 4 times more when they came back.
Damn.
Yeah, like, but folks don't talk about that. Everybody's just like you loved them, you hated them, then you, like, adored them, and then you couldn't live without them. And then when the devastating tragedy of that helicopter crash happened, it was just like, it gave you so much perspective. Like, damn, like, he really was that dude. Like, he was that, like, you can't, like, he's that dude.
Yeah, before LeBron James came, my man was AI. And I used to be against Kobe because I wanted AI to get me so bad. You know what I'm saying? I used to talk to AI late nights on the phone, like, trying to strategize how to get them 2 big monsters, man. But like I say, when you gave me some insight on Kobe, it really made me look at him different because you don't know nobody's story. You only know what that screen telling you, right? And his commitment to winning and commitment to people because they almost sell him as a unsociable guy.
Yeah.
And then you saying the stuff that the conversations he had with you and, you know, different things like that, man. Share with the story, I think, when y'all went to Milwaukee, somebody came around your neighborhood.
Yeah, well, it was crazy because Lamar Odom was the one that had suggested that I invite Kobe. He was like, I said, hey, man, y'all, you know, my family always make ribs, you know, black-eyed peas, all the shit, everything, all the soul food. Like, y'all want to come eat? They like, hell yeah. Like, Brian Grant, everybody like, we coming. I was like, anybody want to come. I got a party bus. Everybody pull up. Like, this will be dope. So they was like, you tell Kobe? I was like, nah. They're like, you ain't gonna tell him? I said, I'm gonna tell him. So I go in the back. I'm like, Kobe, you wanna get some ribs? You wanna come to the crib? He's like, where is it at? I was like, it's in the hood. It's like, it's at my spot. Like, but you good. He's like, I'm coming. He's like, what time I need to be ready? I like 15 minutes. After we pull up to the hotel, dump your bags, come up. He's like, all right, I'll be out there. Quick. He was back down. He was actually the first one he beat me on the bus. He was the first one, then Lamar and them came down. And then everybody else piled on, went back, we ate, kicked it. Like, everybody in the neighborhood, like, come through.
Couldn't believe Kobe in the hood.
They're like, Kobe eat ribs. He's like, hell yeah, I pump my own gas too. Like, he jacking, like, in the house just kicking it. And it was just like a dope moment. Like so many pictures was taken. Like I know people still got those images and the moments. But it was something special to me because what I've learned and what I was taught, like when I first came to the league, the godfather of the game, Stan Van Gundy, Pat Riley, Keith Askins, Bob McAdoo, like I inherited something by wearing that Miami Heat uniform, like the culture, the work ethic, all that shit. And they taught me something. And then when I went to Los Angeles, like I never seen it in real form or the body of work, like what they were saying, what you can get to if you do these things until I saw Kobe. And I saw like greatness, excellence at its highest, purest form. So like Alonzo Mourning had the kidney situation, so he was around, but he wasn't like playing. So I didn't see that level of greatness.
He's a hard worker too.
Because he's a grinder. But when I saw Kobe, I was like, this shit is different. But this is what they was talking about. This is what they were saying for the separation. If you want that separation in the league, when there's 450 dudes out there and you trying to be the cream of the crop or that one or two, you got to work like this to make yourself different. And I saw that firsthand. And Kobe like come with me.
What you think motivated Kobe? What you think his motivation was?
Jordan.
But he became, in his mind, 1A.
Yeah.
He still wanted to put more separation on that?
I remember one conversation. Gary Beatty was taping Kobe's ankles, and he had a calendar on like all the monumental days in NBA history. Like so, if we had a game, it was like Jordan had 55 today. You already know what's coming. Kobe was about to make some history because he knew the history and the significance of these days and these milestones. But he also was like, who you chasing? Like what's your why? And I didn't have a why. I was just like, shit, I'm grinding because I'm trying to make millions for my family. But he was like, what's going to separate you is that because after you make millions, like, you're going to be like, all right, shit, I made 20, 30, 40 million dollars. Like, are you done now? Like, what's your why? I was like, well, you know what? I got to have like a real why. Like, I got to want to win a championship. I got to have these checkpoints that I must get to on this journey. And he was like, I'm chasing ghosts. And I never forget that shit. I said all that rambling shit. I'm running in circles with my whys and all that. He said, I'm chasing ghosts. I said, damn. I'm chasing motherfuckers that ain't here no more. Like, I'm chasing Michael, Wilt, Kareem. Like, I'm chasing ghosts. I was like, damn. Like, that shit stuck with me forever. When he said that, I was like, damn. Like, that's deep.
Man, every time you talk about Kobe, I can feel the passion. I can feel the love. And I know when you heard that incident what happened to him, I can just imagine how that hit you, right?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Couldn't believe it, man. If you had an opportunity to have some more words of Kobe, like 30 minutes, what would you talk about?
You know what? I have to be honest. Like, my last conversation that I had with him, he knew exactly what I felt about him. Like, we was talking about an animation project. I emailed him something over. He reviewed it, and it was like a cartoon thing I was trying to create. He was like, man, who did this stitching or who did something? And this is at the same time he was working on Dear basketball stuff. And but like this is when we had like a deep conversation. Wasn't actually the last time I talked to him, but we had a deep conversation. And I just told him, like, you're not that much older than me, but I want to tell you how much I love you and how much you impacted, like, my career. Like, not just from a basketball standpoint, but to have someone with your knowledge, with your insight, with your experiences to lean on, and just to have somebody that I know, like, you would not let me fail. Like, you see me from a distance, like, you would touch me without even, like, letting me know, like, that was you. You know, that was the type of dude he was. And like he was just different like that. I recall like the last time like he did me a favor was the World Games, and it stuck with me forever. It was like literally right before like COVID and all this stuff was really like coming on the scene. It happened like in November-ish or something. A guy, I got this company about Close Up 360, and we're filming some content out in China. And Yao Ming and Steph Marbury and all those guys out there, and Kobe's headed out there. So I contacted his assistant, Rita. I was like, look, I need Kobe to do this. She said, you just call him. Like, it's you. Like, you know, like he'll do anything for you. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. Like, Kobe, I need you to shoot this content. He was like, how long you need? I was like, bro, 30 minutes, whatever. Like, while you in? He was like, bro, I'm gonna let the dude follow me for the next 4 days. Just shoot all the like he followed me wherever I go. I was like, damn, like for real. So the dude, Jared, was literally on a flight coming back to New York. At the airport, he booked his flight to China as he just came back from China and went literally right back to go shoot Kobe for 4 days. Stayed with him the whole time. And I got all the footage and all the moments, and like I still got the messaging pinned up on my Twitter account where he just like his messaging, what he told me was just like take calculated, risks, and make sure that my second act, which is the act that I'm in now, is better than my first act, which was my basketball act. So that's Bible for me. Like that, I live by that creed.
Man, okay. Rest in peace, Kobe, man.
For life.
Yeah, definitely, man. They trade you to the Wizards. You in the Go-Go City, mumble sauce. A lot of black population. You can come from a small town, and you got black women and Ruth Chris filling the bar, man.
Flavors.
How was it, man? When you first came to DC, what was the transformation like? What was you thinking when you got here?
Man, it's the best thing that ever happened to me in my career because what I learned in Miami, what I embodied with Kobe, I was ready to be like the best possible version of myself. As a basketball player, mentally, like everything, I was just spiritually in line and connected when I came to DC. I knew exactly what my purpose was when I came here. I was like, I'm about to put the city on notice. Like a lot of people sleeping on me, and I'm just the perfect city to wake a motherfucker up in. That was like my mentality and my mindset. Like Larry Hughes had left. I knew he was a beloved player here, and I knew that everybody was like, damn, who gonna be the next piece for the big three? Is it gonna be Jarvis Hayes? It's gonna be Jared? Is it like all these questions? And damn, Ernie just gave him the bag. Was he worth it? Like, and I just loved all that shit. Right. I would just sit back, read the paper. Like I never forget pulling up every morning, getting the paper. This brother used to be out there selling papers. I used to give him like $20, $40 every morning. And I used to read that shit. I was like, oh, they got me fucked up.
Right, yeah.
Every morning. But I had to read it. And I stayed away from that shit for a long time. But I was just like, it was just like I needed that. Right. Like that doubt. Right. Yeah. And it just became my second home.
Because y'all had that little three, man, was a hell of a three, man.
It was a monster.
Was a hell of a three. And y'all personalities, because Gilbert kind of like a wild card.
Yep.
You a solid killer. And my other boy, Antoine, was like this little smooth, laid back, slice and dice you up type joint, right? How was it playing with them? How was the relationship with y'all?
You know what? I think you nailed it. Like I had like a serious approach to everything. Antoine was the ultimate, statesman. Like he was just. He got it how he got it, like every night, consistency. And then Gilbert was just like the wild card. Like you just knew he was coming with that shit every night. Like from a talent base, I think like with him, like he was like one of the closest things offensively from a production standpoint that I've seen to like Kobe. That can just like go on like these spans or these spurts where they can just wow you and dominate you, and then even got the other team looking at you like looking at him in shock and amazement. Like he was that great and that special of a talent. So I think we fed off him always. You know what I mean? Like he was the catalyst. He was the one that would go, and then like we would just do all this shit to fill in the voids and compliment him.
And that's crazy. That was a unique perspective you said him, because me being a Wizard fan and watching him, I promoted him, and but it was something I say, dang, he got this Kobe-ish thing with him or Jordan-ish thing with him, but he ain't as athletic as them. He's not as big as them. He was athletic. And so that was the secret sauce, just a deadly assassin.
Well,
I mean, what was it?
I think he was like Gilbert. Like his mentality was like he was. I think Draymond summed it up great when he was talking about the Memphis Grizzlies and Ja Morant. He was just like, all the success that they got this year, but they too young. They don't even know better because they just out there playing and they not even thinking about the circumstances or the magnitudes of the game or this or that. All they just having fun playing basketball. And I think Gilbert was just like that. He ain't think about all that. It was like this person. He just like I'm Agent Zero. Like it's like whoever like Beyonce, Prince go on stage, they like I'm Prince.
Right.
Ain't nobody fucking with me because this is my alter ego. This is who I am. And I'm in that mode. And then after I'm out this mode, then everything go back to, but when I'm here, this is who I am.
Okay.
And that's how Gilbert was. Like when he came in that locker room and went on that platform, it was just like, this is what it is. I'm him now.
Right.
Yeah.
Damn. I know one thing, man. LeBron, like I say, my favorite guy, but I was against him on them Wizards and what's the name? Why we couldn't get past them guys in that playoff, man?
You know, I think that, and that's when I knew LeBron was official and I knew that he was great, was because we showed him literally for 3 years straight. The first year we bit the bullet. I felt like we could have did more, and we just didn't attack him the way we should have. That was the best opportunity to get past Cleveland. And then plus our main guy wasn't healthy. Gilbert, he got hurt pretty much every playoff run. You know, he had those ailments with the knee. But we showed him blitz, showed him drop coverage, we showed him zone coverage. We picked him up, we was physical with him, we laid him on the wood. We gave him everything. He was too big to cover in the blitz because he could see over the double teams. And when you blitz him with a 5, what he did was he was so crafty where he attacked the big leg. So now he's stretching you out and he's in a sweep situation. So he's got the big chasing, and then now the whole defense is in a tilt and you scrambling and you leaving the wide open shooter, whether it's Wally Zerbiak, Damon Jones, they shooting horse shots.
Commotion.
Yeah, so he saw the whole floor and he was big enough to just see over the double teams. And then when you then send the double team, because he established himself as the chosen one and he was the bread and butter of the association, he was going to get every call. When he was going downhill, he get hit, he going to the foul line. So it was just, they're in the bonus at the 6-minute mark in the first quarter. They're at the bonus at the 7-minute mark in the second quarter. At the end of the fourth quarter, when the money on the line is possession ball game because it's the playoffs, they're already in the bonus. So you get a foul down here or over and back, they coming down here shooting 2 free throws. So they putting points on the board while you just, you burning calories. Right. So like it became like a thing where like his greatness really was just like magnified and amplified in our series because you saw that he can do anything.
All right. So you knew then, back then, you say he's gonna be a problem for a long time.
Yeah, long time.
And it's crazy. I know one of the games that I think I was doing a 2-3-2 or something back then. I want to say, and we ended up, we real close friends with Ben Wallace, so we ended up walking to Sequoia's with him. They was in the hotel right there close to Georgetown, and we walked down the street. So me, Ben Wallace, and Frank, my man, who went to school with him, and LeBron and his buddies walking, and I say, man, this dude really 6'8", he really about 6'9". He was
6'9".
He was taller than Ben. I said, man, he a problem for real, man.
Yeah.
He was a big boy, man.
Ain't feeling none of that stuff. And I thought they did a great job of just always getting him moving. Like he never was caught. Like now he could sit still because his jumper got better. He know how to manipulate the game so differently. But then he was always on the move. Freight train. Couldn't every time you had a knee-jerk reaction trying to get to him because he was just he played with a motor and he was just always on the move. So you had to hit him, grab him, something, but he was just playing with a physicality that he brought the game to you.
Right. Was that the first year they put you out or the second year they put you out? Antoine Jameson missed a short little short shot with a little layup or short mid-range. That was the first year or second year?
I think it was the first year.
That's the year I feel like we could have got them.
The first year I felt we could have
got the
through.
First year. Okay. You get traded to Dallas. Mark Cuban always been the guy that you look at him from the outside, look at him as us being fans. When he first got to Dallas Mavericks, he tricked out the dressing room. so everybody could be comfortable, innovative. Just seemed like he was ahead of the game. When you met him, did you get that? Did you get that? Did you see that? Or how was the relationship when you first met Mark?
Yeah, it was amazing. I want to say this though before we transfer gears. Abe Poland was one of the best owners in professional sports. Like I never had an owner come to me like he came to me. When he signed me, he made sure my family was straight. He gave me his personal line, told me if I needed anything, my family needed anything. He had us. He hired pretty much everybody in my family that I wanted to come down from Racine, ranging from my uncles, or he had friends that had job opportunities and stuff. He positioned everybody. He really just put everybody straight.
So that's how Jarvis was cutting everybody's hair down there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah, he was getting the barber. Jarvis shot a big boat.
He put my whole family he was like, oh. I said Jarvis could cut hair. My Uncle Carlos was working security. My other folks was working at Belfort. Everybody was just. Right. But that's shout out to the Poland family, man. It was.
And I actually had to close my closing job actually about Abe, but you got him right there though, so that's good. I definitely ain't forget him, man. Bad boy. Built a lot of communities in D.C. Stayed in the community. Loyal as F. You know what I'm saying? West on sale, man. We got that chip from him. And he kept right here, son, everybody. Right? So man. I know his loyalty.
That's a different level. That's why I had to speak on it.
Yeah, unreal. Yeah, I was gonna get him at the end, but you got him. So rest in peace, Abe Poland, man. God damn. So you tell us something about Mark Cuban, man.
Man, I text Mark at least once every 2 weeks. I gotta tell you the story about Mark. I'm retired, so the roar of the crowd is not for you. It's for what you can do. When you can't do it no more, they be cheering for somebody else. So
hey, hold on, man. We got to get Caron to come here and run some of these shows, man. Give me one more time. The roar of the crowd.
It's not for you. It's for what you can do.
Okay.
And when you can't do that shit no more, they be cheering for somebody else.
Okay.
And that's true. That's reality. But Mark, I don't have no value to Mark outside of my spirit. I'm a good person, and we have a genuine relationship. I started a podcast just right when I retired. Tough Juice Podcast. I'm working. I'm doing my thing. I said, Mark, hit him up. Hey, whenever you in town, L.A., let me know. People always like, oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I hit you. Real talk. CB, I'm actually going to be in L.A. next week. All right, cool. Where you shoot your podcast out? I said, man, I'm mobile. I got a cigar lounge out here that I usually do it at for the backdrop and everything, but I can do it wherever. He said, all right, cool. Mark Cuban's a billionaire. He got a billion things going on. Filming Shark Tank, all this stuff. He said, you know what, CB, I got an idea. Come to the hangar where my plane at. I said, what should I do? He said, you just bring your crew. Don't worry about it. My crew, I send them over 30 minutes, 40 minutes earlier. They set up, and he put them in an executive suite in the hangar of the airport. And he comes in, he said, man, how much time you need? I said, man, when your plane leaving? He said, when I'm done with this. So if you need 2 hours, that's how long we going for. If you need, and I was just like, damn. He was like, I love you for who you are. And I always respect you for the man that you showed me who you are. And that just, and so fast forward again to, my criminal justice work and stuff that I do in that space. I reached out to Mark Cuban literally right after, the world got turned upside down with COVID and we was raising money for the Vera Institute of Justice. And I was like, Cube, I need some, anything you can do. Don't feel pressure, anything you do. 25, 30, 40,000, 50,000, he just quick. Hey, man, and come back if you need anything. Let me know. That's just the type of person he is. And, I got to make sure I give him his flowers because Mark is just special. If I text him, he's going to respond immediately. He's just a really good dude.
From you leaving Washington and then you going to Dallas, so you know how crazy the Washington fans is about the Redskins. The Dallas fans about the Dallas. How was that? You neither one of them was your team, right?
No, I love the Packers.
The Packers.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, yeah, okay, the boy. That's why Wisconsin, right? Okay, so
that worked out perfect for me too, by the way, because we had we won the championship in 2011. The Packers beat the Steelers in 2011. So it worked out perfect for me.
Oh, okay. All right. Before I leave Dallas, you was down there with a bad boy named Dirk Nowitzki that I feel like is the best international player. I don't know if you consider Lonzo international because they was on United States soil most of their whole life. They got a new kid down there now in Dallas.
Lucas special.
I think this guy Mike can surpass Dirk as far as what he can bring to the game. Do you think it's possible?
Well, I know the ball gonna be in his hand, and I know that with Jason Kidd at the helm, I just as a former teammate of Jay Kidd, I just know how he thinks. Like he's gonna always ride his talent. That's the reason why you saw Giannis excel to who he is today, because Giannis was my rookie. I had him in Milwaukee, and then Jason Kidd came on board, and obviously just teaching him and educating him. So, you've seen the acceleration of his career and all the tangibles that he brings to the game. And I think in the future, Lucas is probably gonna be the same way.
Right. When did Caron Butler know he's gonna be a coach, or he was a coach?
I think that it really started, coaching my daughter Gia's basketball team. But I've been coaching all my life. I've been sharing my experiences, exchanging jewels, doing that my entire life. And I think that's what coaching is. I think it's just really mentorship. I think it's, getting ahead of it and sharing your experiences in the moment, in the heat of the battle, being able to have being able to articulate your opinion in real time to help somebody navigate and be a better version of themselves. I was coaching off the court because it was business stuff and things that I was doing, but on the court I was always just leading by example, or in the locker room talking to dudes, talking about their preparation, how they should look at the game, because look who I've been exposed to over the years. I think about Coach Eddie Jordan, he ain't no slouch. Fast Eddie was amazing. I think about Eddie Jones, Lonzo Mourning, Brian Grant, Stan Van Gundy, Godfather of the game, Eric Spoelstra. You think about Rick Carlisle, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, playing with Blake Griffin, Chauncey Billups, Grant Hill, all these guys. I'm just I played with the cream of the crop, and then I was nice myself, So it's you take all those experiences, good and bad, and you really just compact it and put it there and kind of just share that information and that insight from all of that, and that's how you enhance your players.
Ever since I first met you, all the way up to today, as we speaking, your wife is somewhere around, and y'all got such a unique relationship because I can see y'all looking like a husband wife, and one day I might see y'all looking like a brother and sister. Then I might see y'all look like my road dog. How you knew she was the one, and you made a great selection. And tell us something about your wife, man. What is it, man?
That's my best friend. I can't even, how some people say that shit it's a Hallmark card statement or something, but it's for real, that's my best fucking friend. She's seen me at my low, seen me in between, brought me back here. You know what I mean? So I knew that she was going to be the one when I was at UCONN. I got there, and I wasn't searching for no girlfriend, nothing like that. I was just, like I said, there on a business trip, but I told her my dreams, and she didn't laugh at them. I told her what I needed to accomplish here at this university and what I needed help with, and everything that I needed, she provided. Everything that I wanted as a friend, she provided. So we became best friends before we even had any dealings with each other. She was just a supportive ass friend. And then it became you're my best friend. Then I said, you know what? I can't live without you. It got to that point. And, to this day, 20 plus years, she been rocking with me.
Hey, man, did y'all hear him say he told him he had UConn on a business trip?
On a business trip, man.
Hey, man, your uncle, man, your uncle too. He put some jewels in you, man.
Yeah, he gave it
Uncle
to me.
Rich, man. Uncle Rich had you focused, man.
But I'm telling you, like a lot of OGs or mentors, they don't like. I feel like we lack that so much now, and then we also lack like youngsters sitting around and doing this right here, just having dialogue with people that had a wealth of knowledge and experiences. Like, and I used to always be around old people. I want to share that. I always was around old people, and like they say, a kid should stay in a kid place, but I always was around old conversations, so I always picked up on this game, like knowledge and shit like that, and also just like shit that I would never do. Like I seen old people do some shit, I was like, oh man, I'll never do that. Like they tripping. So just I peeped up a lot of game from being around my uncles.
And that's a unique statement because even when I do when I get interviewed, I always promote OGs because people always say, man, you think you been here before. You think you get it, how you get so. I say, man, I'll just listen. And my OG ain't had to just be a killer or bank robber. You know what I'm saying? He was the recreational guy that ran the rec, my basketball coach in school, the next door neighbor that used to drink a lot. You know what I'm saying? That is, like you say, it's wealth of information around the older brothers, man, and they definitely need to be brought back because somewhere along the line, I don't know what rapper or what person made it uncool to listen to the old dudes now. That they even say it. Nobody want to hear that from the old dudes, right? So, man, we got to get the old dudes' voice back in the community, and that's going to be 3/4 of helping the problem, man.
Facts.
So I'm glad you recognize that as a what's the name, man. So you got a lot of business. I know you low key. You don't like to talk about a lot of stuff you're doing, but how did your street ability to hustle that you took from racing, all the stuff you was doing, man? How did you apply it to your business world? How did you use it to apply to that?
I think relationships, being able to talk to anyone, knowing how to read a room, knowing how to read a situation, knowing how to read a community. I look back at a lot of things that I wanted to be a part of, I wanted to do, and I know that. I mean, the Bible itself says a good name better than any silver and gold. So like I look at what my brand is in the community, and I serve as inspiration and hope in my community. And I know that, people from all walks of life want to do business with hope and belief and things like that. So that's value, that's a tangible that, people from all walks of life want to have access to. And I started putting myself out there. So I knew that one of the most important things I had to do was make sure that I have access to liquidity or dry powder. That's capital, that's money. And once I put myself in that position, when business opportunities present itself, they want to always have the headline in the story. They want to always put the good article in the paper. But I know that the good article in the paper leads to like my brand being used. I didn't care about that. I wanted to have equity in these projects. So, ranging from opportunity zoning, building from Starbucks to O&H bakeries to new gyms to dream courts to, community centers, all that stuff, like underappreciated homes, Habitat of Humanity, all that stuff. I wanted to have my fingerprints on the makeup and the shape up of the new community in Racine. So I put myself in position to do that. I'm doing that. We're doing that. Me and my wife doing community gardens out there, everything. And it's only happening because who we are and what we are as a family. Our brand isn't diluted, and just having access to capital, being able to get in some of these conversations and these deals, affording these companies not to go to like Cardinal Group and these other different branches to ask for capital, where you can just come to you and you can be the service or serve as the bank, and you can go out there and make these dreams a reality. So we've been building a lot of stuff. We've been creating a lot of opportunities. We've been hiring people, and it brings me and my family great joy to be able to do that.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. All I can say with that one, man. Let me ask you this question, man. This last basketball question, and we're gonna get to the end of this. Couple more questions. Kobe and Michael Jordan, one-on-one basketball game. I know Jordan was your number one dude coming up. Who beat that game?
I don't think they should have ever win.
Never win?
Because if you go into 11, you go into 15, whoever win the first game gonna make you play a second game.
So it's a take back, score, take back?
This is gonna be a whole bunch of back and forth shit. I just think I think that when you talk about the makeups and the shape up of players, and you talk about when God made Jordan, he threw away the mold. Well, I think the mold was found. I think the closest thing we ever see to Michael Jordan is Kobe Bryant. I think, like, from a skill standpoint, the only slight difference is the athleticism. You know, Michael Jordan was just a one-off freak from an athleticism standpoint, but it's like a mirror image of everything when you watch their clips and their moves and the mannerisms and everything. Yeah, that shit would be epic.
Damn. Okay. At the end, I like to throw out a few names, man, and I just want you to respond whatever you think, whatever your opinion about these people. And I'm gonna keep them on the list, even though we touched on them earlier. Abe Pollin.
Great, one of the best owners in professional sports. Great human being. Love him and his family dearly for life.
Okay. Coach Irk Spoelstra. I'm saying right? Coach Irk Spoelstra.
Great mentor. Great advocate for change. And I think he's a guy that, you know, years from now, people gonna be like, damn, he redefined the game of basketball with his knowledge and his approach to, you know, how he schemed for games and everything.
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark is, you know, a big brother, a mentor, somebody who I, you know, look to for a lot of advice, someone that I can lean upon, a solid dude.
Jay-Z.
Somebody who I love being under the brand Rock Nation. Met Jay-Z on numerous occasions, and he's always been, you know, light, been positive, been hope, been inspiration.
Okay. What do Caron Butler tell the 15-year-old Caron Butler?
You're going to be all right if you just listen. But I said, like, when I retired, the Players Tribune had me do a letter to myself. They said, if you can write a letter to your 13-year-old self, what would you say? I said, I wouldn't write the letter to him because that motherfucker wouldn't listen.
Yeah,
so, like, I always use the phrase seeing is believing because it's like I come from, like, you have to show me. You have to show me that this is possible. And that's why I always try to, and some people may think it's boasting or bragging, and I try to do it gracefully. I don't try to do it like loud or anything, but I just try to show people that this shit is real, this shit is possible. All these things that we talk about being kings and queens and having ownership, you know, signing deeds and, you know, transferring assets down generations and correcting generational curses. I'm like, man, this shit is real. And I try to show, like, my family, my loved ones, people that I'm closest to, that this is a reality. That's why I show, like, little snippets of things on, you know, social media here and there. Like, just to show, like, man, like, this, you can do this shit. Like, yeah, it took me 42 years to be an overnight success. Like, so it do take time sometimes, but it's a process. Like, trust that whole process of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Man, look, man, we glad you was able to come here, man. You said something earlier about Mark Cuban when you told him, man, I was in L.A. I got a show in L.A. Whenever you come to L.A., you get a chance to come to see you. He told you he'll be there next week, right? When I told you I got a show in D.C., but I can come to you, and you said, nah, we ain't going to do that. I'm going to be in D.C. in a couple of weeks with my daughter going to Howard. Congratulations to your daughter going to Howard. And you said we're gonna do it right there in your company. Pull up right there and do it in your set, right? So, man, you know, God don't make no mistakes, man. He sends you blessings, man, and you know, and you reciprocate them. And you know, I guess they say with you go hand up or hand down. I forgot that terminology, but you know, you do that, man. And you know, I can say 1,000 words about you. I'm gonna tell a quick story about you, man. People don't know your shoe game mean, you know what I'm saying? And we wear the same size, right? So I see every time we meet up, he's about it all day, his clothes and all that. I say, man, them some mean joints. He said, yeah, man, I don't even, I don't even be wearing these, but he said, shit, I only probably was one time. Oh, I say, shit, I take them joints.
Facts.
Man, this man sent me a whole bag of shoes, right? The Gucci joints, all this stuff, right? And the wife called and stuff. Let me know you want some more. I was like, God damn, man, y'all. I'm the nigga that go around the hood giving shit to people, right? I get a Christmas bag coming through, right? So I said, man, that's my man, real as they come, man. So I appreciate it, and I wasn't too ashamed to get them joints, you know what I'm saying? Them joints was fresh. I wasn't 6 days. Hey, Bone, you got them? I ain't know you. I said, I got a few of these jokes, man, laying around.
I know some people, man.
I know some people, right? But yeah, man, when we leave, man, if you can give a jewel, you gave about 15 jewels out here, man, but if you can leave a jewel at your choice, I was going to ask you, being the background you came from, if you can talk to a young guy that got him 50,000 to 100,000 on this pillow that he got, doing whatever he had to do to get it, what business advice would you give him that he can take a chance to get exit out? If you could touch on that, I'd like that right there. And then you give me a closeout of a jewel that would, no matter what the jewel be.
Nah, I would say just find somebody in that space that's really good with, investing. Find someone that's really good in creating opportunities, late stage companies, not early stage, because it's always high risk. It's high reward too, but it's always high risk. So just find companies like that. And lastly, I think just make sure that you define reality, because when you have money or if you have access to, capital gains, like people always can create illusions, so just define reality and what your end game is, what you're trying to get out of a situation. And that'd be my best advice with you. And I would have to say there's no quick fixes. Like everything that I've invested in as of late and in the past, it took 7 to 8 years to me to see like the longevity of the returns. It just don't happen like that. The kickback happened Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, like every quarter. So it's a process in getting your returns. But then when you look at the dividends over the 7, 8 years, you'd be like, oh shit, like I got over 35% returns on, this $1 million that I put in this or whatever the case may be. So I just think you got to play the long game, and try to swing for the singles. Don't be going for no home runs and nothing like that. Especially in this economy, because we headed for a recession. We're in the midst of one now. Things upside down. The market is crazy. You don't hear nobody talking about Bitcoins and things like that because shit is scattered all over the place. So, like I said, define reality. What is reality? What's your reality and what you're trying to get long term?
Okay, it's a bet, man. I appreciate you again, man, for from coming to my life, man. We meeting, however God put us in each other's path.
Damn right.
I appreciate you allowing me to interact with your family, because that shows you a lot when a dude that should be around their family. You know what I'm saying? Especially one as guarded as you are, because I know you're a king of that castle and you show it in every walk of life. You know what I'm saying? So I just want you to continue being you, continue doing what you're doing, continue being an example, and you should be a poster child of the crusade. Don't forget where you come from. Give back and be consistent with giving back, man. And man, I think God will continue to bless you and your family, man. And again, man, I just appreciate you,
Likewise,
man.
King.
Man,
Thank you.
Tough juice, man.
Thank you.
Y'all want? I ain't even end with no jewel today. The jewel is, look at this one joint over and over again about 5 times. 'Cause he dropped about 8 of them joints, man.
Salute,
man. Changing jewels, man. Make sure you subscribe. Man,
that's hard.
Yeah.
Out the park, niggas know me. Curtbone, little homie. All days, yeah. Been a road.
Thank you for watching Changing Jewels on Curtbone TV. If you like the jewels that we are dropping, subscribe, hit the notification, and share with some friends. And I'll see you on the next episode of Changing Jewels, Curtbone TV.